If you need a 10 gig router for your business, you're probably thinking that you need some kind of large 19-inch router that has to be rack mounted, which means you need a rack cabinet, you need to assemble it, you need to install it. All takes time. And you're probably thinking that because you haven't seen this. This is a compact 10 gig router from Ubiquiti, and it can sit on your desk just like that. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Bogdan Ciperni, founder of Apex One IT. We do small business IT, and this is that UniFi Cloud Gateway Fiber. It's on par with Ubiquiti's full-size UniFi Cloud Gateways that go into a rack typically. And in some ways, it's also more powerful than the Dream Machine Pro, and it also costs less. Now, before I set this up, let me show you where this will sit in your network. Typically, you'll have internet coming in, right, to if you have fiber and ONT, or if you have cable like Xfinity to a modem, and then you would have a router. Sometimes, or a lot of times, like AT&T, Xfinity as well, they will bundle these as one device. They might call it a gateway. You're probably paying them monthly for that. So you could remove that and just ask them for that or bypass it. And that's where you would plug in from your internet and RJ45 typically to your router. And that's where this UCG-Fiber sits. And this router is what connects all your local devices to the internet and to themselves. You can plug things in. You can have a wireless access point for Wi-Fi. Now, this device doesn't just do networking. It actually runs all of UniFi applications. And I'll show you what that means and also when I would choose to deploy this UniFi console. In the box, we get the device itself, and I already put the feet on, so it has these rubber feet. Comes with this simple template to align those feet. And also their premium patch cable. And then the AC adapter, that's a 54 volts, 1.1 amp, 59.4 watts. It's pretty long. This part's about 5 feet, something like that. And then this adapter here, which is something like 2 feet long. It's designed to consume 30 watts of power. There's that DC barrel jack for input and a little pinhole for resets. The unit is about 8 inches wide, 5 inches tall, and 0.5 inches tall. And it comes in at a light 1.5 pounds. Then we have on the back our 4 2.5 gig ports. And one of them, number 4 here, is actually PoE Plus capable. Then we have a 10 gig RJ45 and 2 more 10 gig SFP Plus ports. There's a little world icon here indicating that these by default are designed to be connected to your internet provider from your modem or ONT. But any of these are actually reassignable, meaning that any port can be used to connect to your internet provider equipment or for any local devices as well. There's a couple of ventilation ports on either side, and then this little guy is actually a blank for a storage tray. The UCG-Fiber comes in many flavors, should I say. This is the default one that doesn't come with a storage tray or any built-in storage. It just has this cap that's meant to be replaced with a NVMe tray, which is just a type of storage, and that's what I have here. So this is optional. You can buy with storage built in, 1 terabyte or 2 terabyte. I actually have a 512 gigabyte drive here, so I'll just slide that in. And now I'll power it on. Now we see the display light up here that has a color LCM, about 1 inch display there. Just gives us status. It'll also show us traffic that's happening, network traffic. And it wants us now to plug in our Ethernet cable from our internet provider modem. I'm just going to use the RJ45 back here, so port number 5. And now it says it's ready for setup. So we'll go ahead and get the UniFi app on our phone, and I'll show you how to set that up. Jumping into the UniFi app. There it is, pops up on my screen, Cloud Gateway Fiber. Let's go, set up. We can rename it. Let's go next. I have about a gig connection, so it most likely, I'm not saturating anything like 5 or 10 gigs here. Looks like automatically it includes some quality of service items there for video calls. Keep that on. Checking for an update and saying about 50 seconds left to set up the console here. Okay, setup complete. Let's go to dashboard. Okay, so here's the main view. I don't have anything else plugged in here at all, except you see we have that 10 gig connection on our WAN or the port going out to the internet. So let me show you what else we can connect here. I showed you this simple diagram here, right, where we connect our devices. Let me give you a little more detail. So for example, because this has a PoE plus port even, not just PoE, you can connect something like this 2.5 gig switch. You can power this separately with a USB-C power supply, but it has PoE in, which means that you can connect it to the UCG-Fiber just like that with that port number 4 that supplies both power and that data connection through Ethernet RJ45. Okay, so that's one way to go about it. A little bit other ways you can use that PoE plus port is to connect a wireless access point, right? This does not have Wi-Fi built in. So the way you would do so is, in this example, I have a U7 in wall. It has a port on the back. If you give it PoE plus, it powers this on, actual PoE as well. And it has 2 more ports, basically a built-in switch here. So let's go ahead and use the included patch cable. And I'll just plug this into port 4, my UCG-Fiber. And I have a light indication here, and it'll pop up in my UniFi app to set up, as well as in the dashboard on the web, and I'll show you that here in a second. First, let me show you a couple more kind of situations here. So you can use that PoE port now, again, for a camera. So for camera security, that's all integrated within UniFi. You can power a camera just through that Ethernet cable. We can plug in a computer to any of the other ports and still have Wi-Fi. For example, with this one, this is a U6 mesh. It comes with a PoE injector, meaning that the PoE injector plugs into power and also back to our UCG-Fiber. That's what gives it the data connection, then the power. And now we have PoE that powers a wireless access point. So now we have Wi-Fi. Okay, this one's a little crazy, but I'm just trying to show you how you can use just that one device and what you can do with it. You can do a lot more, right? You can always add a larger switch, for example. I just have this tiny one, but I mean, you can have a rack-mounted switch. That all works, especially because it has SFP plus ports on it. And a lot of those large 19-inch full rack switches will have an SFP plus port on it. But let me show you what we have. So we have 2 internet providers for backup. Let's say we have a fiber connection that can go to our port 5 here. Then maybe we have a secondary, something like Starlink. No, that doesn't go more than 1 gig, so we can just use one of these 2.5 gig ports and designate that. And reserve these 10 gig, other 10 gig ports for something like a NAS here, because we can utilize that 10 gig SFP plus and connect it to our UNAS Pro. Maybe same thing if you have like a computer that kind of works like a server maybe that has a 10 gig port on there, you can use the other 10 gig port as well and designate it for LAN, not for WAN. And now that PoE port here is left for something like a VoIP desk phone, right? That can be powered from that. We're still using a PoE injector here to power a wireless access point. And now that also gives you the freedom to use meshing. This is a UX7 from Ubiquiti or UniFi, and it doesn't have to be hardwired and back to our UCG-Fiber. It can be connected wirelessly back. Okay, so you might be familiar with Wi-Fi mesh. So that's what you can do. You can add more units like that. And if we still want a camera, we can actually use something like a G6 instance that connects back through Wi-Fi as well. And I'll show you that here in a second. And we still have 1 more port left, and we can just connect another computer. Okay, here's how I actually connected things. So right now I have already plugged in, like you saw, the U7 in wall. I plugged in the Mac Mini and the UNAS, and then we'll do the camera at the end. So now, yes, I can open up my phone, the UniFi app, and basically see all of this, and it's called adopting devices like this Wi-Fi wireless access point. But you can also go to unifi.ui.com and log in with your UniFi accounts. I kind of skipped it when I showed you on the phone, but you will be prompted to create a UniFi account. And here's the dashboard. So I didn't do anything yet. It's just plugged in. Things are updated. And you see it's really prompting me to adopt or add this new device. I can also go here, UniFi devices, and click to adopt. You'll see the UNAS Pro is already here. It's kind of separate. We can add it here as well. Okay, so it's adopting. It'll be online in any second. We can actually go ahead. You can go ahead to settings, Wi-Fi, and create new Wi-Fi even before you have any access points here. Okay, it's getting ready. I should note, so with the UCG-Fiber, you can have about 50 UniFi devices. So other UniFi devices that are managed by this UCG-Fiber, which includes this wireless access point. Also, if you added the switch, for example, or any cameras, you basically have that 50 device limit. Okay, so we are connected. We can look at the topology. And there's those other devices. And for example, we can go to ports. Right, and you see there are connections here. This indicates, the color indicates what's the network speed. This to the UNAS to our internet is 10 gig. This is 10 gig. Our wireless access point is 2.5, and this Mac Mini is at 2.5 as well. And if there were any other client devices, they would be here. So this is that Mac Mini. That's just one. The UCG-Fiber can do up to 500 kind of users, client devices connected at once, which is quite a lot. You probably won't saturate that unless you're in some kind of large school. Now, let's get the camera connected. We'll go to settings, install our other applications, so control plane. And these are all the other ones, and we'll install Protect here in a couple minutes. And while it's doing that, I'll go ahead and grab the G6 Instant, plug it in, power it on, and we should be able to add it.
Ready to adopt.
Okay, while that's installed, let me show you some, at least basics that would enable for sure. So let's go to settings, security. Well, there's our new device. We'll add that here in a second, but yes, we'll have the new zone-based firewall for sure. Okay, this is part of the features here, very easy to see. Now under protection, we want to turn on intrusion prevention. So even though we have a 10 gig internet connection, when you turn on intrusion prevention, it limits that to 5 gigabits per second, which is quite a bit. So that's actually more than the Dream Machine Pro right now, and SE as well. So the notify and block, it's all good. You can have ad blocking as well, region blocking, and we'll leave the defaults. Here under routing, we should see quality of service. Okay, so this is where we can configure certain rules like this, where it will prioritize certain type of traffic. So right now it's saying all our video calls, but maybe I don't want that. Maybe I want my VoIP phones, right? So I just do what I want. It's a SIP. Let's do VoIP, for example. Okay, and then one last thing, which is pretty awesome here, identity endpoint. I would get started with that. Okay, we got that, and enable this one-click VPN, okay? So that lets remote users in, and all securely here through users, and you can add users, manage. It's pretty awesome. Then under internets, we don't have a backup internet provider here right now, but you can see if we did, we'll have instant failover as well. Instant is like 1 second, and it goes over to the other internet provider. Okay, and now we should have, Protect installed. It's right here. It gives us some info. Let's go ahead and add our, right here, G6 instance.
Camera setup completed. Ready to stream.
We can go in here and modify the settings, when it's recording, things like that. If we go to the Protect dashboard, we'll see here's our storage, right? It's showing you we have 494 total storage out of our 512 gig NVMe storage that we put in there, and that looks fine. The total cameras you can have on here are 15 HD cameras, 8 2K cameras, and 5 4K cameras. The no storage option of the UCG-Fiber comes in at $279, and before I tell you on how I would compare this or where I would deploy this, please like this video since you made it this far. So first of all, I would say that this is a good one if you really have fast internet, like actual, up to 5 gigabits per second, since that's what you can do with intrusion prevention. So if there's any kind of small business office that can actually utilize that, or you're a home enthusiast and you really want super fast internet, that also works. Now, it may not be the best in terms of a large office if you have, a lot of devices connected, UniFi devices, but it would be good for like a branch or a second location. Maybe you're opening up a second location. This is a good one that, if you drop this in, it doesn't have some other things like high availability that the rack mounted cloud gateways do have. But otherwise, this is pretty future-proof. And also, if you can stay within that camera limit, the 5 4K cameras, you're looking now at something like $400 to get 1 terabyte or 2 terabyte at $530. So that would work, again, if you just need only that many cameras, then you're fine with the UCG-Fiber. And you can see officially they support 2 terabytes, but you can get the no storage option. You just have to get this tray for $19 and you could put in your own NVMe and it shows you kind of the specs of what it supports. You know, some users got things working up to 8 terabytes, but officially it's 2 terabytes. So if that works for you and you don't want to rack mount your cloud gateway, then this is perfect. I'll have a link for you in the description for sure. I mean, you can see it looks nice, very easy to deploy because of that. Otherwise, let's compare it to the rack mounted devices and then I'll also look at other compact UniFi cloud gateways as well. So these full size ones, I mean, you can see right away the price starts to jump. Just for the next one up, the Dream Machine Pro, it's $100 more than $500 for the SE, which has PoE ports. Oh, and then the Pro Max at $600, which has 2 hard drive bays. Which brings me to one of the main kind of unique things about why you would go rack mounted. Well, if you want to rack mount it, sometimes I just prefer it. You don't want the UCG-Fiber just to sit there on the rack. You want to secure it, then you go rack mounted. You'll notice that typically all of them at least are like 2x in terms of camera capacity. And not only that, but you can put full size hard drives in there, which can be a lot. First of all, they're more robust and more storage. And with the Pro Max, you can do RAID as well. Now, some of these though, you'll see here right here, this is the intrusion prevention. So with the UCG-Fiber, you can get up to 5 gigabits per second internet speeds. But if you enable that on the Pro and the SE, you're actually limited to only 3.5. But again, if you're not even anywhere close to 3.5 gigabits per second and you need rack mounted, I mean, this is no problem. You don't have to go to the Pro Max here that also has 5 gigabits per second. Okay, and maybe the last thing, well, the high availability that I mentioned earlier, and also just the number of UniFi devices is at least 2x. Same thing with connected users. If you need more than 500, something like a school, you're probably looking at Dream Machine Pro. Now, looking the other way, kind of less expensive gateways, and these are all the compact UniFi cloud gateways as well. This is the UCG-Fiber, very similar, a bit smaller. It has 2.5 gig ports on it. And okay, so it's not really 279. For 279, that's the one that has 512 gigabyte NVMe already built into it. Not built into it, but it comes with it. The regular one or no storage option is actually $200. So it is less, costs just like the Express 7 here. But anyways, you'll see that it can run all the applications, same camera capacity here, just a little bit less in users, and the internet throughput when you have right here 2.3 gigabits per second when you have intrusion prevention turned on. There's also no PoE, no 10 gig, but if your internet is not even close to this one is still a very, very solid compact device to go with. Definitely a good one for a second office to connect those together as well. Okay, and then there's the UX7, which is quite a bit different. It has Wi-Fi built in, very unique to this one. Similar to specs, kind of to the Cloud Gateway Ultra. So with the Express, it only runs networking. As you can see, a little bit less unified devices, but it only does networking, so you can't run cameras off of it directly off of, this is that UX7 right here. It only has 2 ports, 2.5 gig LAN, 10 gig WAN for internet. But again, you're limited on the throughput here when you have intrusion prevention turned on to 2.3 gigabits per second. But if you don't care for that Wi-Fi or you want to run it separately, you can also go with something that's more like the Cloud Gateway Max, that's the Ultra, and that's only $129. So only networking with this one, but it's your least expensive option, and the throughput here is 1 gigabits per second. So I would only drop this one where I know the internet service or speed will never kind of exceed 1 gigabits per second. Then that's a great one. I mean, the cost savings there are great. And this Cloud Gateway Ultra is kind of more similar to form factor as this UCG Max. It only runs networking. So if you want to do that and you want to run maybe camera security on a separate UniFi console, that's a great one because it's only $129. But I would place this where your internet is not going to exceed 1 gigabits per second. Regardless of which UniFi console you purchase, any of these compact ones, you'll want to watch this video up next on the screen where I walk you through a complete network setup for a small business. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Take care.